Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we're going to learn a new topic in R, which is combining and restructuring dataset. Combining and restructuring data. Right. So first, let's look at how to combine a dataset. So before we start combining the dataset, remember the dataset that I asked you to download from my website. So make sure you set the working directory to the dataset that you already downloaded, right? So you just go for that number 6, combining and restructuring data. You just go for data. So under the folder, you should see there are a lot of dataset available for combining and restructuring data. First dataset is bigcat.csv, CIA data1.csv, CIA data2.csv, and so on. So now let's look at how to combine the data. Let's call one of the data, which is CIA data1 and CIA data2. So this is a CSV data file. So let's put it as a data1 for read.csv CIA data1. Another one is data2 read.csv CIA data2. Right. So far you dah jumpa I punya file dataset? Dah jumpa kan? You're supposed to have a dataset. Right, let's look at the data 1 first. Data 1 we have country, life expectancy, urban, and PC GDP. And for data 2, we have a country, same identifier, country, PC GDP, life expectancy, and urban. Basically, in data 1 and data 2, they have a same variable, right? Let's look at how to combine it by row. Combine by row. Combine by row means that I'm going to stack data 1 first, then followed by data 2. So let's say to combine by row, we will use rbind function in R. This is rbind is a function to combine data by row, right? So let's do CIA data rbind data 1 data 2, right? So if you can see now, data 1 CIA data, which is I already combined data 1 and data 2. So you nampak tak, dia akan stack data 1 first and then followed by data 2. So this is the data 2. So data 2 ada kat bawah lah. So if I change CIA data 2 rbind data 2 first followed by data 1, so still they akan combine the data, means that they're going to stack the data data 1 after data 2. So this is the value for data 1. So nampak tak, data 1 dulu, data 2 dulu, and followed by data 1. So this is how we stack the data using rbind. So let's look at how to combine data by column. Right, combine data by column. To combine data by column, we will use cbind function. Cbind function. Right. So cbind function will add another data set by column. So let's say I put data 3. Data 3, I'm going to use what else we have in data set. let's say I'm going to use who data.csv, right? Read.csv, who data.csv. So in data 3, we have alcohol and mortality. But if you notice that in data 1, we have 5 observation, right? But in data 3, we also have 5 observation. So what I want to do is, I want to put data 3 after data 1. Means that after PCGDP should be alcohol and mortality. So what I need to do is, by using cbind function, let's put this is CIA WHO data, cbind function. So I just put data 1 and followed by data 3. So if I call CIA WHO data, now you can see data 3 is after data 1. So this is basically these two functions we already learned in previous lecture, right? We already know how to combine and combine by row and combine by column, right? Let's look at another function in R, which is we can combine the data using merge function. Oops. So we're going to combine the data using merge function. So in merge function, let's look at the help document of the merge function. So for merge function, the description is they merge two data frame by common column or row names. Right, and do other version of dataset of join operation lah. So if you can look at the function, they have start with merge. First argument is x, the second argument is y. So x and y is the data frame that we wish to combine or merge. So there are another argument, a lot of argument. So the basic thing that we're going to see is all x, all y, right? So all means that we're going to combine everything in data 1 and data 2 together. All dot x means that we're going to combine based on data in x. All dot y means that we're going to combine the data based on data set in y. So you need to remember the representation here. First is x value, x object, followed by y object. Right. Now let's look at the data set we have in the folder data. Let's say we use cpi data.csv. Now let me call the dataset data4 read.csv. Sorry, this one should be cpi data.csv. Right, let's look at the dataset 4. We have basically we have country and CPI. Right, data 4. We have country and CPI. In data 1, we have country, life expectancy, urban and PC GDP. Right. Now, to use combined dataset, let's say I just use by default combined dataset merge data function. So using default merge function. Right, so I'm using merge data 1 followed by data 4. So if you look at the documentation, if you are using by default function, all equal to false, means that they will only combine the data that have in these two dataset only. Yang ada sama saja, yang tak sama dia akan buang, right? Means that kalau you tengok data 1 we have Finland, data 1 also has Spain, data 1 have UK, but in data 4 we also have Finland, Spain, and UK. But in data 1 we don't we have a Slovakia, but in data 4 we don't have a Slovakia. So the Slovakia will excluded in the merging dataset. Right. So it only combine or merge the data that have a common identifier. Identifier means in the dataset we call as a primary key. Right, means that the same identifier lah. So now let's look at the dataset when we want to merge all dataset. Right, merge all the dataset without excluding any data value. So we just use merge data 1, data 4, and include all equal to true. By default, if you look at the documentation, all is equal to false, means that it only include the same identifier only. If you change all equal to true, means that it will include everything. Everything inside data 1 and everything inside data 4. Right? So now we can see Slovakia is already inside the merging dataset. Okay? Now let's look at to merge data based on X. Based on X means that if you look at the documentation, the first argument is X. So we want to merge the data set based on whatever identifier inside the data 1. So let's say merge data 1, data 4, all dot X equal to true. So, right. Now let's compare this one. Let's say data 1, data 4. Let's look at this one. So if you can see now, it only merged the data set which the identifier only the based on the identifier available in data 1. Mean data 1 is X. So Finland is already here. Slovakia actually in data 1 but not in data 2, data 4. So Slovakia also inside the merging data set. Alright. So far, can you understand this one? Right. So what we want to do is we want to merge these two data set, but whatever merging job they want to do, you must base on data 1. So now let's look at to merge data based on Y. Based on Y means that we want to merge the data set, but we must refer to Y. Y means data 4. Merge data 1, data 4, all dot Y is equal to true. Now again kita tengok balik data 1, data 4, and this one. So it only merge the data set that available in Y. Y means data 4. So if you can see, Slovakia is not inside the data at the merging data set. Okay, so I hope you understand this one. So this is basically how we want to merge the two data set together, right? So now let's look at another part, which is restructuring the data set. So if you want to know the data set, there are two format of the data set. One is a wide format, another one is a long format. So long format. Another one is wide format. Right. Example of wide format. So example of wide format, let's say I'm trying to key in one data set. So let's say I create dataset babies. So I'm creating data frame, name equal to, let's say, Abu Ahmad Ali. Another one is Nasir. Just put my name, very easy, right? Then comma, another variable that I want to input is gender. Let's say C. So this one should be this one. Yep. Gender should be male. Not fun, huh? This is city. Female. And this one should be male and male. So let's put another variable. Let's say I'm just copying. So this is an example of wide format dataset. So you can see, so I ada same identifier Abu. So I ada banyak measurement, year 2011, year 2012, year 2013. So this is example of wide format dataset. So let's look at another one. Let's say example of long format. So let's say I just call another dataset. Let's say kita tengok dulu dataset apa yang ada. Vital sign. Kita tengok dulu. So this is a data 5 read.csv. So this is example of long format. Kalau boleh nampak kat sini ada dua perbezaan lah. Kalau wide format dia nampak wide from left to right. But for long format daripada atas turun ke bawah, benda yang sama. Right? So far do you understand the difference between long format and wide format? Faham ke?
Faham, sir.
Right.
Faham, sir.
So now, let's look at, before we moving further to convert from wide format to long format using complicated function, let's look at a simple function which is stacking and unstacking a dataset. So now let's look at, I try to find one dataset read.csv, which is grade. Ada grade tak? Directory, we have grade1.csv. Right. So dataset grade1.csv, which is dataset 5, we have a long format dataset. So now what I want to do is I want to stack this data set. Means that I want to make class A satu variable, class A, class B and class C into one variable, and this value 87 until 84 in that for the second variable. Means that I want to convert this to a long format data set. So now very simple, just using stack function and call the data 5. So I just convert this to a long format data set. So the importance of converting data set from a wide format to long format, another one is long format to wide format, is because some analysis required a long format data set to compute the analysis, right? Some function required a wide format data set to compute the data set, compute the analysis. So it is important for you to know the requirement of the function of doing the analysis, such as one-way ANOVA in R. It requires us to convert the data set to wide format, right? Some function required wide format data set. Some function required a long format data set. So it depends the function that we are using for data analysis, right? So now this is how we stack the data set. Means that for class A kita stack satu cluster, another class B ni kita letak kat bawah, class C kita letak lagi bawah. So in same data set, right? So now this is for stacking data set. Let's say we want to select only. Let's say instead of selecting class A and class B and class C together, stacking all the class together, we want to stack selected variable only. For example, I just want to select, I want to stack class A and class B only. Instead of stacking all class A, B, and C, so I just want to stack A and B only. So I can use stack function, data 5, and I put another argument, which is select. Select means class A. Oops. This is class A and class B. Now you can see I already selecting class A and class B to stack into one data set. This is one way to convert from a wide format to a long format. So for example, let's say if you want to unstack. So this is from wide to long format, right? So another function, if you want to convert from a long format to wide format, so this is very simple, right? Instead of using a stack function, right, we can use unstack function. Unstack function, let's say I want to, let's see this one, wide, I just put stack data 5 to wide. So means that wide ada long format lah, consists of all class A, B and C. So I want to convert from wide data set ni, means long, this should be long lah, long, from long data set ni to a wide format. So I just use unstack function for long data set. So Sorry, unstack. Yep. Right. Simple, right? So this is going to be very simple. If you only have a single value on each dataset, if you have a complicated dataset such as um, you have a lot of data in a dataset that you want to convert to the long format, so stack function will not be effective since you have a lot of variables. So if you only have a single variable to convert, then it should be very effective. So for example, let's say let's look at another one. Look at let's look at the dataset iris. So dataset iris. So let's say head iris. So we have sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width, and also consists of species. In species, let's say table iris species, we have basically three type of species, right? So now, what I want to do is I want to unstack. So if you can see, this dataset is a long format dataset. If you can see iris, the type iris, dia nampak. This is a long format dataset. In species variable, you can see there are setosa, versicolor, and so on. Right, so they stack together. So maksudnya dia adalah long format dataset. So what I want to do is I want to unstack this one, means that I want to convert this dataset to a wide format dataset, but based on sepal length. So by using stack dataset, we cannot unstack all this variable because there are a lot of variable inside the long format kan. So kita boleh hanya convert from long format to wide format for a single variable only. Right, so that's why I am going to unstack species based on sepal length. Right, so to convert based on sepal length by species from long format to wide format. So I'm going to use unstack function because this is a long format. I want to convert it to wide format. The dataset that I'm going to use is iris, right? So the variable that I want to unstack is sepal length by species. Nampak tak? Sekarang ni, I dah convert from a wide format, from a long format dekat sini kepada wide format. But this value only for sepal length. It's not focus of others data value. Right? So basically, do you understand this one? Boleh faham ke? Any question so far?
Saya nak tanya yang tadi kan yang sebab unstack iris sepalang tu dia jadi maksudnya dia pendekkan data ke?
No. Sekarang ni, kalau you tengok dekat sini, ada iris ni, ada sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. But by using stack function ni, dia only can focus on single variable. Single variable means that yang salah satu variable je lah. Sama ada sepal length or sepal width, petal length or petal width. So So what I want to do now, kalau kita nampak di sini mungkin lebih jelas sikit sekejap ya. Kalau kita tengok head iris, dekat sini I ada banyak variable. But apa yang I nak fokus kat sini, head iris, yang I fokus adalah -2, -3 and -4. I hanya fokus kepada ini. So dalam sepal length ni, kalau kita tengok ni, I ada basically I ada 150 observation with 2 variables. So dalam satu variable ni, let's say table wait dalam spesies I ada 3 spesies lah. Satu Setosa, versicolor, virginica. So each have 50 observations. So that's why we have 150. Kalau kita tengok this variable, right, yang kita fokus dekat sini, ini apa yang nak tunjuk ni. So I ada long format dataset. So when I do unstack, right, so apa yang dia buat adalah dia akan ambil the first species ni, Setosa ni, dia akan letak satu variable. Nampak tak? Satu variable. Versicolor satu variable. Virginica satu variable. So each data value dalam ni adalah value sepal length. So this is disadvantage of stack and unstack function, because it only can focus only for one variable. So dia tak boleh fokus kepada banyak variable lah. So now if you have a lot of variable, let's say you faham this one yang saya terangkan tadi tu?
Faham, sir.
Alright. So let's say kita tengok data resistant.csv. Let's see. So this one sama juga, I nak convert white to long format. Right. So let's say data 8 read.csv. So kalau kita tengok data 8 dekat sini, kita ada white format dataset, right? So we have formula day 3, day 7, day 8, and dalam ni ada value. So what I want to do now, instead of having white dataset, right? So apa yang nak buat? I nak letak day formula 1 dekat sini, and then day 3, day 7, day 8. Macam mana nak tunjuk? Kejap lagi kita tengok. So by using if you have a lot of variable dekat sini, so you can use Reshape Function. So kalau kita tengok Reshape documentation, Reshape. So description of Reshape is reshape a data frame between white format with repeated measurement in separate column of the same record, and reshape long format with a repeated measurement in separate record. So kita tengok dekat sini, dia punya function is reshape. The first argument is data, and another argument yang penting kita kena tengok adalah varying. Varying is the name of set of variable in white format that correspondent to single variable in long format. Maksudnya, kalau kita tengok dekat sini, variable mana yang dalam wide format ni, dia akan jadi satu variable dalam long format. So, means that formula lah. Formula and maybe in long format ni dia akan jadi daripada wide format ni dia akan jadi satu long format. Maksudnya di sini kita ada banyak variable day 3, day 7 and day 30, day 14. So yang ni kita akan jadikan dalam satu variable long format. I hope you understand this one. And then vnames dekat sini adalah names of variable in a long format that correspondent to multiple variable in wide format. So ini kalau kita nak terbalikkan jadi wide format lah. So now let's look at this one. So I'm going to use Reshape Function. Right. So this is the dataset. So first argument is we need to specify the direction. So direction dekat sini is a string argument, whether wide or a long format. So kita nak letak kepada wide format ataupun long format data. This is a data direction. So this is a long wide format, so we want to convert it to long format. Right? Varying means that the variable in wide format ni yang kita nak jadikan dia sebagai long format. So this one should be C day 3, day 7, day 14. Right? And times means that bila kita jadikan dia sebagai long format, long format, right? So apa yang kita nak letak dalam value long format tu? Sama ada nak kekalkan day 3, day 7, day 14 ataupun nak tukar benda lain. Let's say I tukar day, kekal benda yang sama lah, day 3, day 7, day 14, right? So ID variable. So another one is ID variable. ID variable means that this is the identification value. So A, kita ada beberapa value dekat sini. So this is the ID value lah, A, B, C, D. So this is what we call as a primary key kalau kita belajar dalam database. So apa yang kita nak dia base kan. Right? So vnames is, let's say the value yang dalam ni, value ni kita nak jadikan macam mana? Kejap, I bawa sekejap ya, I try ambil pen. You boleh nampak right? So dekat sini kita nak convert, this is a formula A, B, C, D. Dia akan ulang balik lah, A, B, C, D. So this is a day 3, 3, 3, 3, and then they focus per 7, 7, 7, 7. And the value inside dalam ni, maksudnya 10.8. This is 18.5 dia akan dekat sini. Betul, this is day 14. This is A balik. So this is going to be 41.3. You nampak tak? This is what we want to do lah. So next, vname ni kita nak rename, nak letak satu nama dekat value ni. Let's say kita letak resistant. Right? And then so time variable means that how many times kita nak ulang ni adalah maybe kita letak day. Maksudnya this is a date lah. Kita tengok kat sini. Ini nama yang kita nak akan letak dekat sini. Untuk represent day ni. Right. So when we run, kita nampak macam ni. So I hope you understand the concept of reshape variable using the reshape function, right? So this one we reshape function from wide to long format. Okay? Boleh? Any questions so far? Ada soalan tak? Soalan? Faham ke tak faham?
Faham, sir.
Right, good. So let me move to the next function. So this is from wide format to long format. So for example, let's say we want to convert from long format to wide format, right? Wide format, long format to wide format. So let's say I'm using another function, dataset. Let's say vital sign. Tadi kita dah tengok vital sign is a long format, right? So this is data 9 read.csv. So if you look at data 9, so this is a long format dataset. Right, now if I want to convert this format to wide format, so apa yang I expect dekat sini, I nak dikekalkan sebagai subjek dekat sini, because subject is our identifier. So this is 1733, ada banyak ulang kan, so this is going to be identifier, and then this is going to be pulse, diastolic, BP, and systolic, BP. So kita ada berapa sini? 3 kan? Kalau kita tengok sini, 1, 2, 3. And then dia ulang balik. So this is going to be wide format lah. So ini adalah value 1733, 1734, 1735, 1736. So the value of pulse should be 120. And then 100 diastolic blood pressure, this one should be 79, 79. And dia akan ulang lah, 121, 86, and 72. This is the objective of our next function. So we still using reshape function, right? Reshape function from data 9. So direction, instead of wide long format, we should replace it to wide format, right? Boleh? So this is the basic function, and then the next value yang argument yang kita nak masuk adalah vnames. Vnames means that kita nak dia jadikan vnames is kalau kita tengok dekat sini, vnames adalah the value, new variable yang kita nak create. New variable yang kita nak create means that kalau kat sini kita tengok, kita nak create a new variable which is pulse, diastolic blood pressure, systolic blood pressure. Let's say I letak result lah, right? So nanti dia akan jadi apa? Dia akan jadi result.pulse, result.diastolic blood pressure, result.systolic blood pressure, right? So then what you need to do is we need to put another variable is in the argument, which is time variable. Time variable means that the value from a long format yang kita akan jadikan wide format, which is the test lah, test variable. So this is going to be test. Next is ID variable. ID variable should be based on subject. So bila tengok kat sini, dia dah convert from long format to wide format. Now, your task is try to reshape or convert from long format to wide format for dataset this one yang kita dah buat tadi, wide format to long format. Let's say kita letak resistant 2, right? So resistant 2. So try to convert resistant 2, ini resistant 2 yang kita convert tadi, right, from long format to wide format. So how are we going to do that? Right, do this as your practice and submit to me after class. Right, now let's look at another function. Sometimes if you are using wide format reshape function, right, sometimes you're using reshape function ni, sometimes they will not work if you have too many variables, right? And sometimes kalau kita tengok sini, dia ada banyak argument yang you kena letak, right? So there are another function by using another library which is recast and reshape melt function. So we need to download a new library Reshape 2. If you don't have this library, you need to download the library first, right? So this is another function that can save time to convert. So this function, I think it should be very useful function compared to reshape function, because the usability of the function, the number of argument that we need to input in the function is less than reshape function. So you need to download the reshape 2 library, call the library reshape 2, right? So let's say kita dah buat tadi dataset babies kan. Let's see, kita ambil this one. So dataset baby. So we have white format, right? Babies, white format. So let's say we want to convert from a white format to long format by using reshape library. In reshape library, we have melt function. So this is very useful function, and we no need to input a lot of argument, right? So tak nampak muka you, right? So we use melt function, right? We need to call the dataset babies, and we just need to input the variables that we want to melt. Melt means we from wide format ni kita nak jadikan long format. So variables measure variables equal to, so the variable that we want to melt is year 2011. So this one kena letak C lah, panjang sikit. So we have year 2012 and the last one is year 2013. Basically that's all. And then we're going to melt this one. Oops. Yeah. Wait. So kita letak satu lagi kurungan. Yup. Nampak tak? So this one should be very good function to use to convert the data from wide format to long format. So now let's compare with Reshape Function. By comparing with Reshape Function, let's say kita guna Reshape Function untuk convert this data from wide format to long format by using Reshape Function. So babies, this is the data set. So direction should be long. And then kita masuk varying. So varying, I kena masuk one by one lah. So I copy this one. Right. Comma. And then kita masuk times. Should be the same function. Oops. Right. And then ID variables should be name. Kita ada dua kat sini kan? Name and gender, right? So name and gender. Right. So next should be vnames, v.names. V.name should be ada tak value lah. Value. And time variables should be year. Tutup. Still benda yang sama, but it takes a longer coding line lah. So instead of using melt dekat sini 1, 2 line saja, this one should be accepting 5 lines. Right? So by using melt function should be very useful and saving a lot of time. Right, instead of by using melt function, we can also call the variable. Instead of calling the name of that variable, let's say kita tengok tadi babies. So instead of calling year 2011, 2012, 2013 dalam sini, we can just type, right? Just type measure variable, and then from this is variable number 3, 4 and 5. 3 until 5. So right. So menggunakan melt ni, kita boleh juga identify terus the ID variable. Instead of measurement variable, kita just letak ID variable. Let's say babies ID variables. ID variable dekat sini kita tengok adalah name and gender, right? So kita letaklah name. So it should be C name and gender. So it's the same function lah, right? So let's say if you want to remove missing value inside the data set. Let's say dalam ni kita tengok, if you can see from a wide format ni, we have a lot of missing data kan. NA for city also have NA 2011, 2012. So we just add another argument inside the function, which is melt. Kita letak na.rm equal to true. So it will remove all the missing value. need to remove all missing value. Right, so this is one of the very good function to convert from wide format to long format. So this is a function to convert from wide format. So let's say to convert data from wide format, from long format to wide format. Right. So by using Reshape 2 library juga, right, we can use another function which is decast. Decast function. So now so this is a so melt function ni kita letak babies long. Right. So kalau kita tengok baby long ni, so dia long format lah. So now I want to convert this baby long format dataset ni kepada wide format balik. So baby long. This is the dataset that we need to input. And then kita tengok dekat sini, we have name, gender, and then this is the repeated value kan. Maksudnya kalau Abu ni, Abu kita ada 2000, Abu Ali Nasir ni kita ada 2011, 2012, 2013. So this is the repeated long format. Kita nak convert this one kepada wide format. So kita letak from name to variable. Right. And then and then we need to input value variable. Value variable means that yang variable yang kita nak distributekan kepada dalam ni, which is value lah. Right. So now kita dah convert kepada wide format. So very easy compared to reshape function. Right. Okay. So far, any question? I think that's all for converting and restructuring data, right? So please practice converting and restructuring data. I will give you an assignment from a data camp. Nanti petang nanti baru saya masukkan. So make sure you finish up all the assignment, previous assignment dulu, right? And then baru continue petang nanti baru you akan dapat the new assignment, right? So before I end the session, is there any question you want to ask? Ada soalan?
Sir, nak tanya pasal projek.
Ya.
Yang projek tu based on data baru atau data sambungan dari STA sem lepas ya?
Data yang STA selepas tu data apa?
Yang buat proposal untuk
Dah ada data set ke?